Welcome back to your pick a card. Feel free to take a moment as you make your selection. The timestamps will be in the description box, and if you're interested in any products or services, feel free to check out astronauthoochi.etsy.com. As I stated, you can feel free to pause the video. Otherwise, we'll get started. Group 1, your card is the 4 of Pentacles. That's beautiful. What a coincidence. We're coming up on the buck moon, which is said to be, I think that's what they call it, which is said to be pretty significant, where the bucks like have a rebirth with their antlers. And I know that I've seen on in the Wild Unknown Tarot and many others, the antlers are sometimes connected with the pentacle suit. And serve as like antennas, which could be for your own like mental stimulation, but usually tied to some gift, ability, or connection to source or spirit. So I think that that's very dope for you, Group 1, where you guys are like, this is a card for investors, and it just says that you may have a strong link in the chain of civilization, even if you don't know it. A very important and special purpose around your community or for your collectives. And it talks about you serving as an investor or a physical resource for others. And I think that that's beautiful, because I personally have had private conversations with spirit, and the things that I may desire or pray for or manifest aren't just for myself. It's for myself, my projects, and those that my projects would benefit, as well as my family and the people in my environment that could benefit from my philanthropy, graciousness, or just having a sense of stability, which could give calm and a solid foundation, better foods, better schools, however you put it in your brain. That was my thing. So it wasn't about money or just having a lot and getting the attention. It's more so about a higher quality of life for myself, people in my environment, and even just being a role model. So those that come from where I came from understand that it's possible, and so with the 4 of Pentacles pointing out that you also may be resourceful for your community or collective, I think that that's super dope, and it's very specific and significant. So if you chose this card and you're listening to this video, it's definitely for you, because we're literally coming up on a moon. I think that's connected to, if not a buck, it's still I'm pretty sure it's the buck, but I mean, look into it. That is, I believe, on the 21st. What's magical about like this intuitively, I just got the 21 sometimes look like a 4, or like the Jupiter symbol that is very abundant. Okay, first and foremost. However, this is the 7th month. We had the 7-7 portal. 3 7s is 21. So you guys have like July 21st, which would be like 7777. If you are into numerology, that could be significant for you. And if you're not, that's okay. The 4 of Pentacles is also a card of financial philosophers, like wise doctors. So some of you, even if you don't desire to be an investor, or even if you didn't come to this video for finances, it just says that your wisdom may be resourceful, even if you don't choose finance. The questions that you may ask, or subconsciously, even your higher self may want to point out to you right now, maybe what are you keeping, or what's keeping you centered? I was going to say what you're keeping centered, but that's cool too. What are your greatest strengths? How are you powerful? What gives you a sense of security? And what do you want to hold on to or possess? Who or what do you need to protect? So like myself, some of you may have family, friends, children, pets that you feel protective over or want to be resourceful for. Okay. In response to the troubles, if you're having any that you could have experienced, you may have turned your focus to giving yourself a protective layer against economic problems that may arise in the future, excluding others through your need for personal security and literally blocking yourself from the world around you. That may be some shadow energy of the Four of Pentacles, and considering all that I just said prior to it, may be blocking you from true happiness and even your soul purpose. So keep that in mind, even though I personally understand a need to protect oneself and to some degree detach and distance when going through transformations or coming into awareness about maybe not being exactly where you see yourself in the future, right? Or in a productive place. This card shares power and vitality, the ability to empower oneself and others, the gift of drawing to the resources you need. Now, anybody that's into manifesting and prayer would need your light, okay? So you have a gift, whether you know it or not, and whether you use it or not, to empower yourself and draw in the resources that you need. You don't even really need money. For some of you, you have the ability with these pentacles, which could be just a series of aces, to draw in the resources, the materials, like the actual thing, instead of, praying for or manifesting money, quote unquote. This could be a house. That could be a deal or a contract. This could be just grounding yourself and your thinking. Some of us, because your bonus card, as we get to that, was the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Swords. This may be wish fulfillment because of your capacity and ability. This also points to how Michael got that sword, regardless of what your religious beliefs are. It's just the story of an archangel that may have been a little bit different and had a resource to offer that wasn't available to the community. And so I think it was the angels that were trying to defend heaven, and they weren't used to something that was happening, and it was happening fast and hard. And the other side wasn't playing. So one genuine person that was on the side for the good guys, but still had it in him to kick ass, was awarded this sword, and it was never taken back. So for centuries and centuries and centuries, allegedly, Michael has had this sword. And I personally also appreciate a brave heart. Okay. Another thing, since we were talking about the shadow energy and Michael is on the dark horse. Okay. And, headed to or in a position that is facing the past. For some of us, that holding on, as well as the thinking, could lead to destructive behavior or just may not be favorable. Okay. So just be mindful of that if you're working through any shadowy energy. And since we did mention the moon, it sometimes talks about investigating any proposition and not signing anything until you are absolutely sure. There are uncertainties present in the situation. So as I talked about contracts, homes, and all of these aces, this is about paying attention to the detail and maybe being protective of some of the resources. So take what resonates, leave the rest for others, wherever it suits you best. Okay. Now, an impact of success and abundance on your emotional plane could also be a possibility. And preparing for the effect of your relationships. Backing will be available for your creative projects. And review this card's general meaning for it could be where your heart is headed, which could talk about holding on, saving, protecting, or being resourceful. That's why your higher self kind of pointed out maybe asking some questions so that you could see where you fall, or what may need your attention at the present moment. Now, rest assured that your physical foundation will be healthy and secure by this time next year. I am not a medical professional, but that is the detail of the Four of Pentacles. So if you have been struggling with thoughts, emotions, behaviors, or anything that we've been discussing since we started with you, Group 1, just know that the timing of your improvement could be within a year or within the year. And that's not bad, because I won't tell my age, but I'm OG millennial. I'll just say that. And if I were to get a reading and someone said, well, your situation is going to dramatically change for the best within 1 year, I would be excited, because I have experienced transits that last 7 years, 12 years, 28 years. You know what I mean? So within a year, or in a year, is not that bad. It isn't really bad at all. And it should come to no surprise to you that you're doing or will do pretty well. This card serves as a major focal point to reference when interpreting all of the other positions. So here just says that you'll be granted something or given something for your bravery or chivalry, okay? And I think that that's pretty cool. I'm also going to take out a bonus card for you guys. So set the intentions now for any extra information that you may need from Spirit. Okay. All right. Oh, that is super cute. Look at that. Is that like the book? Wait, it fell. So I just want to see, because I'm nosy. Oh, come on. Look at this. You have, I awaken with the promise of a fresh start, cherishing the delicate wonders that dawn brings to my journey. Beautiful. Okay. And some of you may have watched a video earlier that was posted. I think if it wasn't a pick a card, it was a general reading, or maybe not, because one of the cards that fell I saw earlier today, and it's a little bird. But here is your card, I'm sure, because it fell over by itself face up. The others were face down, so I'm positive that this is your card. It says sunlit oasis, resilience. Okay, because baby, yeah, Michael don't play with that sword. In every challenge, I seek and find my oasis of calm, drawing strength from life's hidden treasures. Absolutely find that. I want to find some treasures. Absolutely love that. And with the Four of Pentacles, some decks do present it as a treasure that's either being preserved, like hidden, or being found. So it could talk about an inheritance, may even be wish fulfillment. So be careful what you wish for, because you know them old school cartoons show the kids like not to abuse the wishes, because crazy shit happened. I think it was Gretel. I don't know, the kids that wished something on the parents and got put in the oven. I'm probably mixing up two stories because I'm goofy like that. But you may be granted a wish or inherit something. And I'm just saying, be careful what you wish for. So thank you, Group 1, for stepping in and letting me read your cards. We will move to Group 2. Group 2, you have, ooh, I believe, isn't that Uranus? This is, regardless of how scary this card looks, the Tower card is literally the throne of God. Okay. It does talk about unexpected change, but that change could be for better or worse. Now, I had the intuitive hunch to entitle this pick a card, Two Truths and a Lie, right? So if any of you had a glass ceiling that has been broken or needed to be broken, it would probably be Group 2. Okay. Now, the tower in the first position could talk about downloads for all of my divine children and star seeds, or those of you that are connected. It even talks about a current, I won't say transit. Well, it is kind of a transit. It's a moon phase, because we talked in group 1 about the antlers and communication. So it is just a season for a new wave of possible information, activations, and awakenings. Okay. Now, it can symbolize positive change or an outcome despite its fearsome reputation. It often represents the necessary destruction of an unstable foundation to allow the building of something stronger and more enduring. So I think that that's pretty cool. Now, with the tower, it talks about a shock. And if you have received, if you've received any news or had any changes in your relationships, it could just help to build who you're growing to become, and also changes the lower aspects of the ego. Okay. Now, some people call it divine reality. And in a positive light, it just says that you've been provided a strong constitution, for many will reject the messenger as well as the message. So sometimes experiencing a tower could be an inherited reality for messengers. If you are like a person that's prolific, a prophecy of some sort, a coach, or if you just have magnificent advice or have a strong connection to religion or spirituality, if you're among a group of people or participating in certain aspects of society, it just says this instability could be what that reality feels like. All right, I'll just say that. Others of you, this card shares a situation that changes rapidly, and it just represents now, like right now. Okay. Prepare your mind for the change. Consciously choose to release your old way of life now. Don't cry about the past. Just accept the changes and make new plans. Look forward to the new and wonderful opportunities that will be presented. Your understanding will be awakened by the forceful removing of wrong thoughts. Sudden unforeseen events will overthrow your existing material conditions. From this will come rebuilding and understanding as your lessons are learned and your perspective is developed. Okay. If you feel your emotions or repress your aggressive drive too long, it will eventually release itself through a violent action. Now, your bonus card, dun, 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 also represents the transits, but 2 represents someone that could have or may have in their environment because of some natal charts or the transit, because I think it shares like Pluto, Scorpio, and there may even be some others that have a holding back energy, as well as a very, well, not very, but subtle aggressive energy. And I'm trying to refrain from saying passive aggressive. It's not a negative thing. It would only come off as passive aggressive because you don't want to allow yourself to fully self-destruct. But repressing it and doing that too long definitely leads to an uncontrollable outburst. And if it's in the realm of subconscious thoughts, events, and or relationships and emotions, I don't feel that it's comfortable. Okay? Because she could represent one of the lovers. And since the lovers are also the same two in the devil card, it tells us that the devil actually isn't responsible for our self-control. So it reminds me of a time my co-parent said that he is only a certain way when we were, it's like when we first met, not like yesterday and he ain't grew up. But, and not that you guys haven't grown up either. Just hear me out. He made a comment that, and he's not the only one I've heard this from, because I caught myself from saying it. But it's like people will try you and only remember how you reacted. So it's like if you wouldn't have tried me, I wouldn't have reacted. And I, in the beginning stages of my adulthood, totally agreed with that. And to hear him say it, it was like a mirror for me, considering his behavior. And I'm like, nah, how you react is how you react. It don't have nothing to do with who tried you and how. And then on my personal journey to self-mastery or peace and calm, you know, Christ consciousness and many other of our moguls, leaders, ascended masters, archangels, I don't care if it was Buddha, Judaism, whoever just promoting peace and turning the cheek. It wasn't about being passive aggressive or refusing to be confrontational. It was energetic, because outbursts and upset, as well as grief and sadness, attracts energies that feed off of that. So the more upset I become, the more grief I allow myself to experience, those energies, and some people even say demons, but I ain't trying to spook nobody, or attracted to that, and they feed off of it. So it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to have been, you know, believing in someone or something that shockingly didn't turn out to be. But we have to prepare ourselves, like the Tower card says, and adjust our perspective to move forward and find the solution or get ready for the new start, instead of, like she's doing, facing the past and still holding that cup. She's pouring it out. And so for some of you, it's about being grounded, because she's using that emotion for something resourceful, which is pouring it into a plant that needs it. So it's like, if it's too much, I might not need it. Got to get rid of it. All right. You could have unexpectedly needed to move or switch positions at your job. And it's like, doing something that's resourceful and making sense is, well, I'm going to sell this or give this away, and or prepare myself and resume or whatever for the next steps that I want to experience. Now, truth comes all at once or does not come at all. So the Tower card just says that these emotions, and this could be provoked by an experience, a person, or the transits. You could even witness a friend or a family member experiencing this and be able to help them in that moment. Okay. So don't feel doom and gloom, like it's inevitable that you experience this. But if it does resonate, there you have it. And if it doesn't, it could be in the environment, or, you know, check out another video. Your higher self asks you, how are you improving and restructuring yourself and your environment? I like that, because she fell from what appears to be something that was chaotic, surprising, and scary, because you falling out the top of a building to the bottom. And even if she was left in that ruin, she remains, her chair remained, that cup remained. You know what I'm saying? She got a little dress on and her hair wet, but it's going to be cool. And she's rebuilding after some sort of change, unexpected change, drastic change, realization. And I like that, because she's one of the sweeter, softer queens. But at the same time, that Pluto and Scorpio energy, she's most likely, outside of the Queen of Wands, to be very aggressive, pop off, and get kind of destructive because of her emotions. And it doesn't have to be you. I'm just saying that if she's the most likely to get emotional and outraged, but also in this particular reading, calm and being resourceful, even after what could have been a catastrophe, and remaining in one piece, it's just a bright light for you. All right. Now, some of you have been provided, like I said, a strong constitution, for many have rejected you as like a messenger. Now, the Queen of Cups as a messenger just talks about someone who has a strong connection to possibly water, nurturing as a Cancer, and the moon itself, right? You guys are in Cancer season, okay? And that could be effective, to those that have strong Cancer placements or just have the archetype and behavior of the Queen of Cups. So just be mindful that if chaos and ruin is out in the world and you are more like this Queen of Cups energy, it could serve as a warning to not allow outside circumstances to infiltrate your person. And when I say person, I mean you, not like a person that you care about, but that's cool too. Now, a spiritual awakening asks you to listen closely to your inner voice. The reading itself is a profound part of your realization. So for some of you, I may have said something that you strongly resonate with. If there are some of you that may have a temper, this card is asking you to temper your actions, like temperance, saying that doing less or more, as the case may demand, if you have been too passive. Reconciliation may be underway. Redistribution of your material resources with high emotional content. So contentment. And notice that she's being resourceful with the water. And some of you are recalibrating. If you've been angry, becoming, a little bit more graceful. But if you've been passive, we pouring cups out left and right. So whatever is necessary. And my puppy is back there like, yeah, okay, cheering y'all on. Now, I'm also going to shuffle out an oracle card for you, group 2. And let's see what we have. All right. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. There's possibly, look, I was going to say that Pluto Scorpio energy, there's possibly a little bit of anger. Okay. We have, and it doesn't have to be, okay. But the lion does talk about like the grace that the guide gives. That could be you. That's the Queen of Cups. She's very nurturing and sweet and all that. But this lion, if stroked incorrectly, is a sight to see. And then with this mystical, what does this say? Maelstrom or something like that. It talks about hidden truths and aligning my soul with boundless wisdom. So, hidden truths could talk about or cause some sort of disruption because of a previous belief or a lie. Okay. Now your card is number 2, crystal springs and purity. Okay. So this is, what's the purification? In the clarity of life's water, I seek and find my true depths, harmonizing my emotions and my intellect. And sometimes the dragonfly is associated with thinking, your head. So I'm thinking about the subconscious or the active thoughts, and where the energy flows, or wherever the thoughts go, the energy flow or something like that. So just be mindful. Now, the head or the mind is also very important when experiencing awakenings or downloads and things of that nature. So just be mindful of that and find contentment and resourcefulness to be an avenue or a solution in purification. Okay, group 2. And we will move to group 3. Group 3. You all have the 7 of Cups. And why did I get excited? Because 7 is one of my favorite numbers. And if you have a soul path, karmic number, birth name, or whatever numerology, that's amazing. If you don't, it's okay. This 7 could speak to the near future or the present moment, as we are in the 7th month. And we've just come out of the 7-7 portal. The 7 of Cups talks about options and things that we're manifesting, whether they've come into the physical or not. They may be things on your mind or an inability to make a selection because of the different way we see things and or the different options that we have. I still like the Seven of Cups though. But if there's any confusion for some of you, we may talk about that. And if it talks about options, consider options to be opportunities. Now with the Seven of Cups, in the first position for some of you, it talks about a situation. So there may be a situation at present that presents multiple choices. However, it also serves as a warning against wishful thinking and a tendency to procrastinate. It could suggest that it's time to take action and make decisions based on a realistic assessment of your circumstances. Now, for some of us, your life could be made of stuff that myths are made of. And everything that happens will create some sort of emotional abundance where the opportunities and the offers that are coming toward you could be unrealistic for some, but it's not for them. It's for you. The Seven of Cups says, the greater you stretch yourself, the more fear there will be. Where fear exists, there is also the opportunity for growth. So don't hold back now. Move on. Use your fear to catapult you forward. Wonderful visions must be grounded in both actions and the outer realities of life, or they will remain only daydreams without any real meaning or value. So rise above your circumstances, but be realistic right now and narrow down your choices using your common sense. Now, for some of you, you may have begun to include others as extensions of yourself. As the self approaches the idea of universal love, it must somehow accommodate the world as extensions of the self. And it's like, well, what does that mean? Well, taking stock, a look at the material interface, which is like just you, what is in your environment and what you're holding on to, is kind of like a mirror. And you could even be reevaluating because it comes out of that Six of Cups, which is nostalgic, the memories, how much we've grown, and maybe some of the circumstances and people that we've experienced for that growth. The Seven of Cups, for some of you, gives a little bit of that energy, which also serves as emotional storage bins. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. But overall, reinvestment in the emotional future is usually why people go back up to the drawing board of the Seven of Cups. Now, your higher self asks you, how are you doing or overdoing? Are you indulging? What are your fantasies for the future? And list at least 7. What are your current daydreams? How are you deluding yourself? What mystical or religious versions of you are you experiencing? Or even visions? How are you gratifying your senses? So it kind of asks you to evaluate the Neptune in your chart. No, it kind of reminds you of reality, because some of those answers that you give yourself are going to show how many or figurative or dreamlike or wishes and hopes, and how much of that is practical, happening now, or realistic. And that can sometimes help one get out of the Seven of Cups energy. And I do the same thing in some of my business classes. The pros and cons will help you. I don't care if you're a spiritual being, a religious person, or just Joe Blow from the show. Doing the pros and cons is something that's helpful in relationships, marriage counseling, a start of any new project, or just a looking in the mirror to assess yourself where you are now. But like I said, you can't help but be visible and set an example of how life is meant to be experienced. And some of you are very magical beings, because this number for me is connected to the Magician, and everything that happens carrying emotional weight that others will find fascinating and want to measure for themselves. So some things that you're manifesting may not be present yet, but once they do manifest, Some people may be in awe. So there's that. Now your bonus card, and we're also going to take out an oracle card, is the Four of Swords. Now the Four of Swords with the Seven of Cups is great. Doors opening for you, offers and opportunities in alignment with victory is super dope. Now for some of us, if there's been a fog and a state of confusion for some time, Spirit is asking you to rest, and not just rest your body, but also your mind, and that includes meditation. Recovery could also be a thing. So some of you guys, like I said, that nostalgic energy of the Six of Cups and doing this reevaluation, if you didn't got lost in the sauce, okay, and you trying to find your way back to self, it does point to recovery to some degree. Now, coincidentally, with the Seven of Cups, it sometimes asks, is your bed covered with travel brochures? Making a list, checking it twice. To say that you have plans is an understatement. And with the Four of Swords, it could point to rest. Since he ain't even got no bed, it's like maybe you travel a lot, you never sit down, or you never sleep because you've been kind of busy, whether that's busy thinking, busy doing, or busy trying to manifest. Begin now to prepare for the third or highest level of your emotional path. For some of you, whereas in the first level, self is concerned with the individual, and in the second level, self grew into concerns of others as extensions to themselves. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it was Rummy that said the beauty that you see in the world would be like coming from the beauty that you see in yourself. So sometimes if we can never find the beauty in things, it should take us on a journey of looking within the self. So that could be for some of you. Your bonus card. Let's see what we have. Oh, super cute. You have, is it Silvered Stream? Focus. Okay. So while maybe it may be very few of you, where the Seven of Cups talks about this pros and cons and self-assessment, and seeing yourself and others, or others in yourself, for the collective of group 3, it definitely talks about focus. And for some of you, this could include streams of income, or this stream is just something relaxing, right? To help yourself focus, maybe listening to some binaural beats or nature sounds, even birds chirping could be helpful. I know that there are certain frequencies that are beneficial for specifically focus. And you can just type that in on YouTube, music for focus, or music for homework usually is where I find it. Classical music is something that I use to help me focus often. And there's other things. I have the Quantum Healing and NLP station where I do guided meditations and upload frequencies, binaural beats, and sounds and instrumentals, just like what I'm talking about. So if you go to the homepage here on my channel, you'll see all of my additional pages, and the Quantum Healing is one of them, as well as my personal blog. And then my puppies have a channel, but we haven't been recording lately. Just kind of chilling, enjoying the summer. Your card reads, my apologies, clear in my desire, skilled in my path, I advance with deliberate focus. So I think the strongest message for you, group 3, is to find time to rest. Victory is assured, but meditation and focus is necessary. And I do hope that helps.